unforgettable is how the New York Times describes The Drawer Boy playing here at Soho Playhouse. Written by Michael Healy and directed by Alex Dinelaris, this play takes you into another time and proves both spellbinding and beautiful. I'm Amber at ABC Coast to Coast, and if you're wondering why I'm in this kitchen, that's because I'm here on set of The Drawer Boy, and I'm going to be speaking to the cast and director of this beautiful play. So check back to check out The Drawer Boy here on ABC Coast to Coast. I'm here with the cast of The Drawer Boy, which is playing at the Soho Playhouse. So we're going to introduce them real quick.
Hi, my name is Alex Fast.
Anything you want to say, Alex?
Well, I don't think there is anything I want to say. I'm a very terse kind of guy.
Okay. And?
My name is William Laney. Hi, Mom.
And
I'm Brad Fryman.
So I want to talk about the show really quickly. I know that it's come a long way from where it started, right? Does anyone want to tell me about that?
We started the show off Broadway about 3 months ago. There was some excitement by it, and people talked about it, and other people said, hey, why don't you move off Broadway? And a group of people got together and made it happen. So here we are. It's Oberon Theater's Ensemble's 15th year, and we finally moved off Broadway for this show.
And you're a member of Oberon Theater Company, correct?
Yes. I'm the artistic director.
Oh, the artistic director. Okay. And how long have you guys known each other?
Well, Brad and I were doing a show. We were cast in King Henry V back in 1995, I think it was.
96.
96.
No years, that's okay.
And we became fast friends. We had a great time doing the show at Toto Canada down on the Lower East Side in New York City. And we said, hey, let's take control of our own theater experience and start our own theater company. So hence, here we are years later, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, very exciting. I did just see the show, and I don't want to give away too much, but the characters are very different. Can you guys talk about your journey with your characters a little bit?
Love to. Yeah. Bill and I play a couple of farmers that moved into this house that you see in the background about 30 years ago. The play takes place in 1971. And we've lived together the whole time, and you slowly find out where 1972, thank you. Well, he'll tell you who he is. And we slowly find out how these two gentlemen found themselves alone so many years later. And it's a really beautiful story about the power of theater and storytelling and how it could absolutely change your life.
And how about you? How was the involvement of your character? How did that happen?
Well, he gets a severe traumatic head injury during World War II, and my character, Angus, is the character who gets the injury, and Morgan, and rightly so, feels responsible, partially responsible for that. And it's how they coexist and how they survive with the remains of their lives, what's happened to them until
this guy
shows up on the scene.
On cue.
Yeah, exactly. So as he kind of mentioned, I play the character of Miles, who is an actor who is very passionate and very hungry, and is kind of looking to find his way in acting. He's a part of a theater collective, and he's looking for sort of his big break within that theater collective, and he enters into this farm, and he sort of proves as he's a catalyst, I guess, for the story. He kind of pushes and prods, not in a rude way really, just out of pure curiosity, and begins to kind of uncover some things that he wants to know more answers about, I guess we'll say, without giving too much away.
Yeah, I think that's a really great synopsis, and all three characters are really developed. I think it was an amazing show. I don't want to give away too much, just like we said, but I do want to thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amber.
Thank you guys,
very much, Amber.
and thank you. And we're actually going to speak with the director in just a moment, so come back to ABC Coast to Coast. And I'm here with Alex Dinelaris, who is the director of The Drawer Boy here at Soho Playhouse. Hi, Alex.
Hello there.
Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Well, actually, you're having me. This is your set of the show, correct?
Welcome to my set of the show, yes.
We're in a quaint kitchen here, and when you see
Welcome.
the show, you'll understand why. So what got you into, you're a writer and a director, I believe. What got you into those? How did you get the writing and directing bug?
I started like every other demented child in high school, I think I did a musical in high school, and I fell in love with being on the stage.
Which musical? Everyone remembers their first.
Fiddler on the Roof.
All right, yep.
I was telling you, they actually, it's a funny story. They pulled me off the baseball field. I was on the high school baseball team, and the drama teacher won a bet off the baseball coach because he wanted me. He saw me in chorus class and pulled me onto the stage, and I ended up.
They betted over you?
They bet. Yeah, it was quite embarrassing. And so I actually auditioned for Fiddler on the Roof in my baseball clothes with the stirrups and socks because I couldn't wear my cleats on the stage. But I ended up getting it, and I was Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof, the skinniest Afro-ridden Tevye anybody ever saw. And I fell in love with being on the stage, and then it wasn't a year and a half later when I started to direct stuff in high school. I just wanted to direct, and that's what I fell naturally into. That's what I studied. I went to college, and I studied directing. I came back to New York, and I was directing. Writing, I sort of fell into. I had a friend who was in Stella Adler's acting class who needed a short play, and she didn't have one. And she's like, "Oh, you have to find me a short play," and I couldn't find one for her perfect, so I wrote one, and I gave it to her and put somebody else's name on it, and she brought it into class.
Why didn't you use your name?
Because I didn't think anybody would accept it. Yeah. And then that went really well for her, and the teacher said, "You have to write." And again, I just sort of fell into it, and then I did some work on. I wrote a play called Folding the Monster that we ended up doing with Danny Aiello and Rosie O'Donnell and a few stage readings, and then I went and helped with the book of a musical called Xanadu, which was sort of an off-Broadway cult hit, and we got nominated for a few Drama Desk Awards. We were lucky that year, same year as Avenue Q and Hairspray. And
there's no luck, come on. It's
there's
not
a
luck,
lot
it's
of
skill
luck.
and talent.
There is plenty of luck. And so then people just started to pay me to write rather than direct. But like everybody says, what I really wanted to do was direct. That's how it happened.
So which is your passion, or are both equally enticing?
I enjoy directing far more because I think I enjoy the collaborative aspect of it. That's, to me, the actors, the designers. When you're writing, you're alone and you feel alone, and there's something to it. I enjoy directing more.
I've actually always wondered this about directors. Is it more the big picture or the individual details that you're interested in?
I think it's both. I really do. I think you start with a concept. You read the play, or if you're lucky enough to work with the playwright, you understand the themes of it, and then you think sort of in metaphor. You think, here we are on this set right now, and talking to my designers about what the big picture was, which is theme and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then once we have that, we start to round down. So whether you're talking to the actors, we say, well, here's the road we're on. Let's cut out all the extraneous and stay right on our road, whether it comes to the props, or you could open up these cabinets. Designers do the same thing. I think the devil's in the details. I think that's what separates the good from the very good. So you start with the big picture, so it gives you a framework, and then you deal with detail. And the more detail you get, I think the finer the production will be.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So the Drawer Boy, which we're on the set of right here, how did you decide to be involved in this project? What is it about it that speaks to you?
Well, I had worked with Oberon Theater Ensemble before, a fine company that's been working in Manhattan for 15 years. I've been a friend of William Laney, who plays Angus in this show, and I became subsequently friends with Brad Fryman, who's the artistic director of Oberon. And Brad and I were at my house one day, and we had a meeting on something else, and we were drinking some wine. And
all great ideas come from wine, right?
All great ideas come from wine. It's so true. And I said, hey, a friend of mine, literally an actor named Jamie Rees, who's a fine actor, said he was at the Strand that day. I met him while I was working on something. He said, I was at the Strand and I bought the script for 50 cents. Did you ever hear about this Drawer Boy? I said, I never heard of this play before. It was the fourth most done play in North America. I'd never heard of it before. But a lot of people in New York hadn't, because it never got produced in New York, oddly. He said, you should read it, and I like to read. So I had Brad at my house. We had some wine. I said, what do you think about reading this play? And we read it. And when it was over, I said, boy, this is a great play for you and his co-founding member, William Laney, who now are playing Morgan and Angus in the show. I said, this is a great play for the two of you. We should do this. Brad looked at me immediately, like Brad does, and said, were you going to direct it? And I said, if you guys want to do it, I'll direct it. And that's how we got in this entire mess.
So the collaborative effort really comes out on stage as well, because you were comfortable with the actors while directing, correct?
Very much. Yeah. I knew this production is based around the actors. Everything you see, the design is based around them. I knew that they would be perfect for it. I knew I could tell the story with them. And so I knew sort of right away what it was going to feel like.
So every cast feels like a family to a point. Does this one feel like a family since you knew them before you started working on it?
I want my real family is fairly dysfunctional and twisted. So yes, this feels exactly
as all great writers, right? Yeah.
So this feels exactly like that. No, they're a family, other than Alex, who's sort of the bastard son. But the rest of them are like, except for Brad, who actually is. They're not like family at all. Now that I think about it, they're not. They are.
They
We're
are.
all
They
good
are.
friends.
You're
we
all
started
good
together,
friends.
and yes, we are.
Just like all families, you know, you have your
right.
little.
Exactly. I won't be visiting any of them at Christmas, but yes.
But you send them a Christmas card.
I might.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Me and my dog.
We'll see how the show goes, right?
Yeah, a little shot.
So you have written Red Dog Howls,
Yes.
which was some difficult material. You even spoke at the United Nations conference, I believe, about preventing genocide based on that show. And The Draw Boy, without giving away too much, does get into some emotional material as well. Some directors kind of shy away from that. What is it about it that speaks to you?
About sort of large
Just
topics,
not
large
happy,
emotional.
fun. You know, it's a little deeper than that. What is it about that speaks to you?
I don't know that it's ever about per se drama or sadness or anything. It's something that emotionally moves you.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's romantic, I can read a Shanley play or read the screenplay for Moonstruck and be incredibly moved. And it's not per se dramatic, it's romantic. The Drawer Boy and Red Dog Howls is a play I wrote that was, you know, when you write something, you write it because you have to, because you're going to spend 3 years with it, and writing something about genocide is to live with that for 3 years. And my family on my father's side is Armenian. That was really, really difficult and very heavy subject matter. The Drawer Boy affected me in a very different way. In a way, it's more romantic. I mean, you could see it in my sort of production with my designers. We were talking about the impressionism of when you come, there are stars and, you know, above the stage. Yeah, and so it has this romantic feel. So I thought that everything inside this kitchen would be very tactile. They'd be always busy with their hands, fixing things, making sandwiches.
That, yes.
Right. And then when they got out to the backyard, it would be very, very still. There's a backyard as well, and there are stars, and that would become impressionistic. So for me, when reading it, that was really moving. And the story about two men and the sort of innocent friend, we don't want to give away
right.
But the innocent friend who doesn't have a memory gets introduced to his history as the audience gets introduced to it. And I think there's something lovely about he and the audience finding out about his past at the same time.
It's beautiful, yeah. And romantic is the perfect way. Of course, the director would think of the perfect way to describe it. It's very romantic.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it is. Impressionistic, romantic, and it seems to work in that world. So, like I said, the initial question was about heavy or dramatic subject matter. I think they're all very different. It's whatever moves you. In this case, this play moved me in that way. So.
It is very moving, definitely, and I think you get that across to the audience as well as I think the characters really feel that at the time. It's, you know, they're living it as they're playing it, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Okay, so please tell the viewers how they can get tickets to this moving production.
So the one thing I should say is that Drawer Boy, written by Michael Healy, a terrific Canadian playwright. This play is, and I'm a writer, so I'm a little tougher on it's extremely well written. And it's surprising, and it's innocent without being schmaltzy. And audiences leave with a genuinely good feeling. Critics have been lovely to us. Our actors are, to a man, really solid in this production. You can get tickets by going to sohoplayhouse.com and just come on down and visit us, and we'll always be here. There's a nice lounge downstairs here where our boys are always there, or I'm there, and we're always talking about theater or other things downstairs. So come down and visit us and say you saw us here on ABC Coast to Coast, and we'll have a drink with you and discuss the play. But sohoplayhouse.com is where you get your tickets.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Really, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys check out The Drawer Boy at Soho Playhouse, and check back to check out ABC Coast to Coast.